let me start with something mundane, but I think it's important, is to always remember why you're doing what you're doing, right? And I always thought when I saw an academic leader who's timid and who treated his or her job as being a train conductor or a greeter, right? And as a person who doesn't disagree or that doesn't stir up the water, right? I always wondered why. Because a lot of these folks are tenured faculty anyway, right? And so I'm thinking it's important to always remember why you're doing what you're doing. And if why you're doing it is for your pecuniary reward or because you don't know what else to do and you're holding on to your job for your dear life, well, then probably you're not going to be a great leader. And that's probably fine too, right? But if you feel that you are committed for whatever reasons, because you care about teaching, you care about students, you care about this and you care about that, and if you are in a position where you feel like you can walk away, because being an academic leader is to be caught in cross currents, right? Especially today, right? So I think you always want to ask yourself, can I walk away from this so that I can actually do my job with some truthfulness, with some pride, and with some courage? Then I think it's good. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, board is not the only entity that you ought to have a good relationship with, but if you don't have a good relationship with the board, you're done, right? But, I mean, academic leadership is uniquely difficult unless you're determined to be a train conductor. It's uniquely difficult because you have too many constituencies, right? And so, I mean, you got the parents, you got the students, you got the board, you got the state, you got the town, right? You got the faculty, you got the graduates, you name it. But I think you just have to figure out which is really important to you, because at some point you have to make a choice, right? I think that in terms of the demands, universities can always create new majors, new degrees, new credentials to satisfy and teach the students if what students need are particular kind of things in the changing labor market. In terms of changing the mindset and the skills of the professoriate to adopt to new ways of teaching and new ways of thinking, I think this is something that's very interesting that I think ASU does really well and with discernment. That is, you can't force the faculty to do something they don't want to do, right? Corralling faculty is a little bit like herding cats, right? And we don't live in Stalin's dictatorship, so you can't force people to do something, and if they don't do it, you go to Gulag or something, right? But I think that ASU, by being so progressive in terms of ways of doing things, and so, for instance, being heavily technology reliant compared to other universities, actually being a university that retrains on a relatively large scale faculty so that they know what it means to have adaptive learning, adaptive teaching, I think it's very good. And to do so without being dictatorial, I think it's very good. And having training people like that so that the impact of training will eventually spread and the culture will change and there will be different kind of enthusiasm, I think is very wise. Well, the world is changing. The labor market is changing. Technology is a different thing every morning you're waking up. And so there will be a need and frenzy in terms of getting the needed training and skills and learning. And if the universities can provide them, great. If they can't, the public will find it in whatever way that they can find it. They'll buy it from Google, they'll buy it from Coursera, they'll buy it from whoever is willing to sell the certificates, because there's no regulation involved about those things. And I think that's inevitable, and I don't know that there is a good or bad ways. I know that when universities get in the business of those things, it's usually for profit reasons, right? And who is to say what should be done and what not?